How are things today?
They're really busy today since we're premiering today, so I've been running around talking about Saving Hope all day. It's good, it's rainy, but it's warm.
Well, and you guys have been busy filming already. Like, you're probably, what, more than halfway through?
We just met that mark. So we started in March, and we're filming episode 10 now, so we're just over the halfway mark, and that's when everything kind of goes so quickly, and before you know it, you're finished. So we're trying to enjoy every second of it.
And so where would you say that things go in terms of mood this season?
Well, mood still is a rainbow of color. I think one of the biggest things is because Charlie has been freed from coma land, that frees up Alex a lot as well, and so you get to see different sides of her personality and get to see her focus on herself a little bit, trying to put the pieces back together. And it's also allowed for the entire cast to be explored more, you know. So the season has the flow of a lot of good medical procedures, which are really well explored, and I love that stuff, and so that's still in there. But now it's intermixing all of the different characters, and so people get an idea of these really interesting people that work at Saving Hope.
And obviously things are still not easy though for Alex and Charlie.
No,
it starts off pretty bad, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it starts off tough. It's too bad nobody ever saw the before version other than the quick flashbacks. But yeah, what happens, of course, is that he finds out at the end of season 1 that he can still see people in that limbo state, and so he's carrying that into his real world, and that's when it gets really difficult because he has to deal with that. Placed in the real time, and Alex, of course, is just trying to get her life back and her life in order, and seeing that something's not quite right with Charlie, and there's some distance, and it's all about them trying to reconnect, and how much truth is loving and how much is a burden, you know. And it's that kind of age-old question: what do I share, what do I not share, and are we going to make it, and all those things. And
in your mind, I mean, it is a good question that things must have been good before everything happened in the first season. Is that in your mind? That
absolutely. Yeah. It's you know, that's who she chose. That was her safety and the love of her life, and that's where she thought, you know, Alex thought, that's it. My little marker post is here, and I'm ready to move forward, and that's what makes it so compelling and heartbreaking and such a good love story.
And are there any things that you can tell us about that are coming this season? Obviously, you can't give away plot, but are there things that are coming that we can expect?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so every episode you're going to experience new and different types of cases that come in, and how Charlie has to deal with them within the realm of being the doctor, and so he has very interesting characters come in, which add that other layer to the show. So while the real stuff is happening and all of that, then you've got this other dimension, and sometimes these characters, their transition into the other world is really interesting and adds another voice to it. And so, you know, in the first episode, Charlie and Alex come back, and there's a shooting, and they're thrown into the hospital, and Alex goes a little bit crazy, a little bit wiggy, and she's working with a suicidal teen, and, you know, so everything just keeps kind of snowballing as you go along. There's a period of time where Dawn, his ex-wife, is teaching Alex and teaching her a new procedure, and really enjoys the element of that power. So that creates a really interesting dynamic, and it kind of just flows from there.
And for Alex, is there some sort of understanding at some point between what's happening with Charlie, or is there something going on there that we might
the spoiler alert. There are some different things that happen within this season that are truly, you know, if you think you've seen Alex with a broken heart, you're going to see something really, truly terrible that happens to her, and how she deals with that, and that kind of creates a scenario for potential coming together and an understanding. But it's really interesting how the writers have created it so that you're always waiting. You're waiting for the next episode to see how they're going to move forward with that, and how he's going to be able to tell her or not tell her.
Wow. And what was the hardest part about playing this season? Was there any particular, maybe not hardest part, but what was challenging with this season overall?
You know, it's just, I think the most challenging thing this season is just figuring out our direction. You know, last year was like a really perfect first chapter in a book, and then you have to decide where are our characters going, how do we keep the essence of that and the beauty of that and what people love about it and move forward with it. And so, structurally from a storytelling point, that was something that was a little more difficult. As an actor, I have two things that are difficult. Sustaining a specific emotional kind of through line it's always demanding. But secondly, on a more intellectual level, it's the different terminologies for all of the medical things that have happened. And intellectually, I find that really stimulating, and I love it. We have the doctors on set that are advising us, and that's great. But yet, on the same time, it's a foreign language.
Right. Do you feel you've learned anything in terms of medical stuff, or
just like very periphery things? It's kind of funny. It's like I can say a couple of phrases and that's it, and that's probably what I would tell everybody they had, because that's the only thing I know how to say. So
makes sense.
Yeah. But every time they introduce something new to me, it's great, and they kind of walk you through it, and you learn something. You learn something different, and I continue to have such a respect for that, for people that choose to do that with their lives. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I have to ask,
okay.
You don't have to answer this, but since Man of Steel is out, did you see it? Did you have any thoughts on...
Well, I have my peanut gallery opinions. It's funny, people have been asking, what are your thoughts? I'm like, well, they're privately like mine. I don't know if they really matter to the world, but I did see it and I enjoyed it, and it was neat to see a little bit more of the pre on Krypton. I loved that aspect, and I suppose most people that love the comic book would love that.
Right.
I found it interesting that they introduced Zod so early. I was like, oh, he's the nemesis that's like supposed to be around forever. So that felt like it was really fast. It was really interesting, and I'm hoping that they can, if they do a second one, which they probably will because it's been so insanely popular, that they'll be able to reintroduce Zod back in and somehow kind of weave they're the creators, right? I loved Jonathan and Martha Kent.
Yes.
I loved all those vignettes. I loved getting to know Clark's character, and I love Amy Adams. I've always been a fan of hers, and so it's neat to see her in there. She's a strong, amazing actress, and that's what I love, is that anybody that's embracing that and given that role, people that are casting it know this person can carry it off, and they do it with aplomb, and I thought she was great.
It is interesting because we've had so many different Supermen over the years.
Yeah.
But I for me, Smallville, I always come back to, you guys had a great Zod, you guys had a great Martha, and the family kind of component around that was amazing. But
yeah, you know what, and Smallville was a really great experience. I think that it was just the freshest one, and it's been in people's lives for 10 years, and so this is, a newer rendition that's coming out, and so people are kind of trying to find the balance, and people have been really lovely and loyal and all those things to me, and I think that's really, really great. But I'm happy that more people can share in telling that story, and in many different versions, because it's a great story.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, the only thing I wondered is there anything else coming up for you that you can talk about that's
not anything that I can talk about, but right now I wish I had something concrete, but I hate saying stuff and then it just goes away. So, but right now this is just taking up 7 months, so I'm busy and I'm thankful for work.
Well, and it's very exciting to see it over the summer because you don't have a lot of. Sometimes summer is kind of a light fare, so this is kind of nice to have a good drama.
Yeah, and it's good, and I was saying previously to a friend of mine, I was saying what's wonderful about it is it has the drama, but they do this really wonderful thing where they'll introduce levity into it, whether it's a dark humor, whether it's one of the doctors that's particularly quirky, so that just when you think you're going to be overcome by the depth of the drama of it, and maybe you're not a drama junkie, then there are these kind of little bizarre little things. If you look for it, it's there, and it's really quite funny too. So. Well,
I love the moment that Charlie's trying to talk to the other guy, and he picks up his cell phone.
Isn't that great? Yeah, he picks up his phone, he's figuring out how to deal with it, and Michael played that part so well, and it was such an interesting choice that they made to have him communicate with one of the ghosts that way. So
I have to ask one more thing.
Okay.
What was it like this season working with Michael? Because you obviously got way more screen time with him.
It was great. We've known each other for a long time, and we're friends, and it's nice to work with somebody you trust, and it's a really good warm environment, and it's in a place that can be incredibly volatile and dramatic, and a lot of times overly dramatic. There's this nice serene temperature to the set, so it's good.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.